Welcome to another edition of the Dr. Alvin Parker Coaches Show. I'm Sean Robertson. Great to join you once again on YouTube and all of the Virginia Union social media platforms. Got a big show lined up for you today as we're going to recap the big win for Virginia Union last week against Shaw and preview another conference game as they make the trip to Bowman Gray Stadium to face Winston-Salem State. And as always, joining us is the head coach of Virginia Union, Dr. Alvin Parker. The team is now 3-1. You got a big smile on your face after that win, going down to Durham and beating Shaw on Saturday.
Conference win, 1-0. All the things that you preach and you want to kind of get done on a weekly basis, especially from this time on out throughout the season. So it kind of happened. So, the guys say I rarely smile, so I want to make sure the world see me smiling today.
You definitely had a big reason to smile on Saturday. Now, for those who don't know, the championship game, and we're going to look ahead a little bit, the championship game has been moved from Salem to Durham. So where Shaw currently plays their home games, that'll be the site for the championship game in November. So you had an opportunity to kind of see the lay of the land, to kind of say, hey, look, this is the spot where we want to be in a couple of months. Did you get an opportunity to kind of do a little surveying of the land on Saturday?
Our championship is this weekend. It's going great. That's our championship. I've been fortunate enough as a coach to have been there a couple times, and kind of see how that setup is. So excited that it's back in Durham, period. It's kind of tough to talk championship.
I understand.
This early in the season, but I think those guys, they can kind of see it themselves. That's something that I would like, a little bit better than me kind of, preaching it to them. But, it's hard not to look at it though, Sean, when it's kind of set up that
I understand.
way. It was another game, another opportunity to kind of get better. And I thought, we took advantage of the opportunity to get better.
Was this probably the most complete game the team has played this year?
I think we've played good in different spots throughout the year. So I thought we did a lot of great things this weekend. In some of the other games this year, I thought we did a lot of great things, and there's still some things that still kind of hampering us a little bit that I want us to still get better at, so kind of going forward. But, this team is a little different, than a lot of the other teams I coach. They got they want so bad to make their own identity, and they're doing a lot of things good, but they still doing some things we got to make sure we coach and kind of keep correct. So, but I'm excited about this group's potential.
Let's talk about the things that have been good for you, and that's the running game. Saturday, almost 500 yards collectively for the ground attack against the Bears, 483 to be specific, and that's usually a collective effort between the backs and also the offensive line working in sync to get the job done. How do you think those two groups have played so far to this point?
I think they played pretty daggone well. Hats off to those guys up front because, again, they don't get mentioned a whole lot. Fortunately, we got Joseph Rounds to be named offensive lineman.
That's right.
Of the week.
Yep.
He's kind of a staple down there for us. So I'm happy to see those guys get some shout-outs. But I think, overall, offensively we're doing some good things, but the sky's still the limit for these guys. Extremely high ceiling, I think, this unit has. So they want opportunities to get better, and we coach them hard every single day, sky's the limit for the all offense. Guys on the outside are making some plays, quarterbacks are playing well. So, but again, a lot of things still left to be coached, and our coaches are doing a great job of coaching it.
And we got to mention about Curtis Allen again, getting the start, offensive back of the week for the CIAA, 278 yards rushing on just 17 carries, average over 16 yards per pop. Phenomenal performance on Saturday.
Curtis has been playing extremely well this season. That's why when a lot of people were asking, kind of what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now that Byers is gone and those type of things like that. And Jada was an extremely great player. Name is in the record books, and it's going to probably be a while before that gets touched. But the way that Curtis is playing this year, along with those other guys in that room, is like you said, it's phenomenal. So I'm happy with the way they're performing.
Well, Diego, your running backs coach, Diego Ryland, put up a stat on social media this week. It kind of blew me because I really didn't know the pace that Allen is on right now to maybe surpass the single season record here at Union. Allen has 738 yards rushing this year. At the same time last year, Byers had 538. So it's a 200-yard difference between this year and last year. And Byers has a single season record, and it looks like Allen is on pace to break that mark this year.
Yeah, I think more importantly, what you're probably hearing from guys like Curtis and even some of the other guys, not necessarily about the records, but just about championships and
Right.
winning and doing some things different, than some of the other Union teams, have done, and they got to do a lot to outmark that team from last year, but they're talking about some things that you like to hear as a coach, in the locker room, you don't hear a lot about the personal accolades, and the two guys that probably didn't say anything about making Player of the Week or National Player of the Week or anything like that's probably been Joe and Curtis. And those are the guys who deserve to be walking around here kind of saying something, and they haven't. So I think it just speaks to the type of team that we have.
Well, you got the championships, and now you got those personal accolades. But like you said, they're looking to create another new identity for this program. They've done that offensively, and on defense, just 2 touchdowns allowed in the last 2 games for that group led by Coach Pointer, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, they're playing well. Some things that you can kind of see in practice happen kind of come to fruition during games. So that makes you feel proud as a coach when you kind of see the things you're working on to get better at, and you're getting better at them. So that group, just like we talked about, with some new starters, they're playing special too. But again, like I said, like we love coaching these guys because these guys want to be coached, and I think our coaches and everybody that's kind of involved in our programs earn the right to coach these guys hard, because we got a bunch of good guys that show up every day and work hard on the staff side of things, and the guys understand that and they know that, and they take all the coaching and they transform it to the field.
What's the biggest thing that maybe you noticed defensively? I don't know if it's schematically or just a change here or there from the last 2 games that you've won against Smith and Shaw from the game when you played down there at Edward Waters.
I think guys are just playing their level best. That's the biggest thing. When you talk about potential versus performance, we knew we had the potential to be a great defense, but sometimes that performance kind of lacked. And so when they perform up into their potential, that's when you see greatness. That's when you see some of the things happen like you've been seeing the last couple of weeks. So we just got to keep playing to our level. And if those guys do that, I expect, more great things out of the defense.
Panthers have won 2 straight by a combined score of 89-17. And as I mentioned, they've allowed just 2 offensive touchdowns to Smith and Shaw in the last 2 weeks. We're going to have Coach Parker join us in our last segment as we preview Winston-Salem State. And they've got some weapons on offense that we will talk about in our last segment. But coming up, we'll have our Players Lounge segment. We're going to have the entire running back room join us this week to include the offensive back of the week, Curtis Allen. That is next on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.
The styles you want, the brands you love, with the service you deserve. Better Menswear. From formal to casual wear, we carry quality men's clothing at sensible prices, where fashion and service meet affordability. That is Better Menswear.
Football is more than a game. It's a legacy built by trailblazers who paved the way for the next generation. I remember the doubters, but I refuse to let anyone define my limits. To the game changers who came before us, and to the ones who are yet to step into the field, keep pushing boundaries, keep breaking records, and keep leaving your mark.
We're back here on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. Coach will join us in our final segment, but right now we have our Players Lounge segment as we talking now to just about the entire running back room. After their big win against Shaw University, we have Raphael Tucker, we have Curtis Allen, we have Ramon Brown, Trevion Tinsley, and Tavon McGee. Jerome, for some reason, ain't want to show up, but we're going to let him slide this week. Guys, welcome to the Players Lounge, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we're going to start with Curtis because Coach had talked about you and the job that you have been doing so far this year. Just speak about, I guess, maybe some of what the outside noise was saying about, you having to fill the role that Jada left last year, and it seemed like you have been doing that and then some, but I just want to get your thoughts about how you prepared for this season during the off year.
Well, for one, since January of the beginning of this year, I've been working out 3 times a week minimum, so I've been preparing since January all the way to August, getting ready for this moment. So it's not really like a big moment for me because I've been preparing for it. So I just am thankful for the opportunity that I got.
I feel old because 3 of these guys I covered in high school, covered Raphael, when he was at Dinwiddie winning the state title for the Generals. Curtis was at Prince George with Coach Carroll, and Ramon making that trip to from Manchester. Just want to get y'all thoughts collectively about the season you guys have had to this point. So we'll start over here and then we'll work around.
So far to this point, we've been having a very solid year, just individually and as a group. And it's always still room for improvement, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But we're really on a good pace right now, and we keep getting better. A lot more great things can come from this group.
I definitely have to agree with what Tuck said. We're pushing each other to be the best we can be 100% every play, no matter it's a fall or a small snap, small play, it's a blocking rep, it's a run rep. No matter what it is, we want 110 from everybody in the room.
To touch on basically what those both guys said, you can definitely tell from the spring, you know what I mean, just coming in, you know what I mean, each individual ready to work, you know what I mean, every back competing, you know what I mean, showing the want and how much we really want this, and you know what I mean, just to have this much of a, you know what I mean, so much talent in this group and explosiveness, you know what I mean, it means something, and you know what I mean, you see it on Saturdays, you know what I mean, that, you know what I mean, no matter who coach throwing the game, like, they gonna get the job done regardless, so that's what I can say.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what he said. Yeah, no matter who coach throwing the game, we all prepare for it. We all practice and prepare every day. Like we just started running back, so Coach Riley and Coach Parker prepare us well each and every day at practice. So we just all prepared and well ready for the game.
Yeah, we have a good season so far. Been going good. We just got to keep it rolling and keep pushing and maintaining and keep doing our job and make sure we're doing the little things right and making sure we could win every game, come 1-0 on every Saturday.
How have you been able to, I guess, check the ego? Because everybody wants the ball, but there's only one ball and there's only one guy that's going to be the starter. So how have you been able to do this as a team and check the individual, let's say the individual goals, and have that to the side? Making it about the team first as opposed to you.
I just feel like when any running back name is called, like whoever go out there, cheer them on, and we all just wait on our time, wait on our opportunity. We all say in our room, don't count your reps, make your reps count, and that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that Coach Diego has pushed? Gotcha. Rafael, now you kind of started, you came here a couple years ago, dealt with some injuries. Now your first real full year of getting an opportunity to play. What has that meant for you to kind of work your way back up to be in this position?
During the spring, when I came in, I was very, very focused, very ready to work, started learning a lot. The injury, it was very frustrating at the time, but just working back from that, being able to come back and, show coach that, I can still impact this team, still help in some type of form or fashion. It just feels good to be back out here, keep having opportunities just to prove myself as a player.
Mm-hmm. And for the newcomers, to a certain degree, just your thoughts about what was it about Virginia Union that made you decide to come here and then be in this room with the talent that was already here at running back?
One of the first things I had to say was the discipline and accountability that I saw in the running back room. Like off rip on my tour, I think I want to say I saw Kurt, and Kurt ended up doing something. Coach Ryan told me to beat his face. I saw that. I immediately saw accountability. I was like, it's no getting out of anything you do wrong here. So everything that you do in the dark will shine in the light, and that's it, good and bad. So all good reps that you work, all bad reps, it's all gonna be noted and accounted for. You're gonna get your due diligence.
I just feel like it's a winning culture and everybody like on the same page. Everybody want to win, and when we put that all together, it makes a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, man. I kind of say what Tinsley said. Winning culture, and just the standard that Coach Parker and Coach Ryland has set, just for this running back group specifically. You can tell by the past history, the the rushing stats record's been broken by, the past running back that just left here, Jada Bias, shout out to him. But yeah, definitely just seeing the coaching, how they carry things and how they go about things and just practice how, you want to be the best each and every day. That's the type of team I want to be on. So, yeah.
What is it like to play for Coach Rowland?
I say it's a blessing. I ain't gonna lie, because Coach Ryland, he's more than a coach. He's like a father figure too at times. You know what I'm saying? He give us life lessons. He also treat us. I ain't gonna lie, like he a great coach. He show us how you supposed to be on and off the field. He always says more than football. So like I'm blessed to have Coach Ryland as my running back coach.
How hard is he as a coach? Is he a player's coach? Does he demand a great deal from each one of you guys? What is it like to, like a week of practice getting ready for the game?
I would say he demands a lot from all of us, because like he want all us to like I said, practice like we the number one running back and get the reps like we the number one running back. So like he wants a lot of hard work from us. He holds us accountable, and I would say he's just like he was in the military, so like he had that military mindset still, definitely. So like yeah, he definitely holds us accountable and wants us to do the best for us.
Coach always talks about this team trying to create their own identity. What do you feel? And I'll go with each one of y'all before we finish the segment. What do you think the identity is for this football team? Start with you, Raphael.
This identity for this team, I would say, is we're just some competitors. There's barely any times where we're getting outplayed or teams are playing harder than us. Mm-hmm. It may be discipline issues or something like that, but we're never just going to lay down and just let a team do whatever to us. So I say we definitely fight hard.
I think I have to say definitely a effort team. Mm-hmm. Like every play, every snap, you're going to get 100% of whoever lined up against you has. And that's going to be the narrative for Union. I feel like you're not going to get away from You're not getting away from that linebacker. You're not getting away from that running back, that center. They're gonna give you everything they got every play.
Like Tucker said, we some competitors. Like this team, we all come to compete, and when it comes on Saturdays, we ready to roll.
I would say the team identity, we got a bunch of dogs on the team, whether it be offense, defense, like the D-line. Shout out to my boy T-Mays, Makai, Crump. Shout out to the linebackers, all of them. Like, we just got straight dogs everywhere. So, like, I feel like our identity is a bunch of dogs right now.
Yeah, I can agree with all these guys, competitors, got a lot of dogs on the team. I can also say just the brotherhood, coming into camp, spring, everybody getting to know each one another. Mm-hmm. A lot of transfers came in, a lot of new faces, and just how the old guys just, took us, open arms and, welcomed us in. It felt good, to just be welcomed into a new home and, know that, your brother got your back into the end. So that's what I would say.
That's pretty good. Guys, hey, we appreciate the time as always. Good luck to you this weekend against Winston-Salem State. Continue success and also stay healthy this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The 5 of the 6 running backs that you will see this Saturday as they will travel to Bowman Gray Stadium to face Winston-Salem State in another conference showdown in the CIAA. We got one more segment still to come. We'll have Coach Parker rejoin us to talk more about the matchup with the Rams on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.
Unlock the secrets of leadership with Play for 11. Leadership by Dr. Alvin Parker, packed with strategies, wisdom, and practical tools. This book is designed to help you lead with confidence, clarity, and purpose. Whether you're a student of leadership or already in the game, Play for 11. Leadership will guide you to the next level. Get your copy today. Available now on Amazon.
All right, back for our final segment of the Alvin Parker Coaches Show with Coach Parker. And again, big thanks to the running backs for joining us today. That is a very competitive running back room, but it seemed like it's all about team, and not about the individual goals, which I think could be challenging with this, with how the current landscape is for college football. They are strictly about the Play for 11, it seems like.
They are, and it's rare that you get that. Extremely rare that you look at Curtis Allen, who's been here, his 4th year. So, people wonder why we're so happy with what he's doing is because, guys don't wait around to do that, so that's the reason we're so happy about him. I mean, every accolade that he's gotten this season, I'm extremely glad that he got it because it shows something, and sometimes it can be difficult as a coach, because you got so much talent. Every coach wants to have a bunch of talent, but when you get a bunch of talent, you got to manage talent.
Yep.
You got to have a plan to manage it. So it's hard. I tell the coaches this all the time. We're coaching the 10 play kids. So when I say the 10 play kids, these are the kids that was raised on you gonna play 10 plays a game no matter what. As long as mom or daddy paid that money, you're gonna play 10 plays. Those kids are now in college. So everybody's used to playing. Nobody's used to kind of, as people might say it all the time, getting it out the mud. And all of these guys, you look at all 5 of those guys who were just in here. All 5 of those guys were a man on their team in high school.
Absolutely.
All those guys were a man on their team where they transferred from. So, to kind of come in here and share, responsibility of making that room go is something that you got to be an adult. You got to be, the least egotistical person in the room to kind of do that. And all those guys have shown it. I think all those guys are scoring a touchdown this season. All those guys have made a difference in games this season. And all those guys are capable of being starters. And I say that, and I don't say that lightly. All of those guys can play. There's nobody in that room who doesn't deserve what they're getting right now.
Right. So that's commendable for all of those guys to, either come from a D1 program to come here, as you mentioned, stay the course when you had an opportunity maybe to go somewhere else. They decided to stay here at Union. Big matchup on Saturday. Winston-Salem State going down to Bowman Gray Stadium. The Rams coming off a win at Bowie. Always a tough place to play at Bulldog Stadium. They win the game despite being outgained by nearly 90 yards and holding the ball 9 minutes fewer than Bowie State, but was able to come out with a win.
The defense played extremely well. The defense gave them a lot of short fields. So the stats might be a little deceiving in that game. The offense didn't have a lot to go because of how well the defense played. And their defense is playing extremely well right now. Have a lot of guys over there who can kind of get it done. And then you kind of flip offensively to those guys, and they're pretty daggone special. They have some of the best receivers we've seen this season, and they have one of the best quarterbacks we're going to see all season. So we got to be ready. That's the biggest thing. But in conference play, we expect nothing less. We have a great conference. A bunch of great athletes in this conference. And I'm gonna say that week in and week out because we have so many of them. Just to kind of make sure the CIAA gets highlighted with all this talent that we have. So Winston is nothing less. I think they have 2 receivers who probably combine for maybe 10, 11 touchdowns to kind of get it done. Extremely special. When you cut the film on, the quarterback is already special, but to add some special receivers to that group that can kind of get it done makes them guys extremely dangerous.
Let's start with them first. I was going to mention about Lee, but you will lead me right into the receivers with Devontae Deloach and also Caleb Washington. Deloach leads the conference in receptions, touchdowns, second in yards, and Washington is second in touchdowns in the CIAA. What makes those two special?
They're just football players. I think that's the biggest thing. Deloach is just, when you flip it on, all of those stats, when you flip it on, you can see it. It's not nothing you have to do any guesswork on. He's a special football player. So I know Coach Massey and those guys are going to rely on him a whole lot. They've already done it this season, and he stepped up and answered that call. And like I say, when you got a great quarterback back there kind of feeding those guys, it makes it easy for a lot of receivers like him and the other guys and other guys in that room, receiver room to kind of get it done. So when you kind of look at those stats, they're a little eye-popping because those guys are making it happen.
Deloach is coming off a 12-reception, 3-touchdown performance against Bowie. He's named CIAA Receiver of the Week. That leads us in the lead, the quarterback. First in passing efficiency, touchdown passes with 14, second in yards. Dalen Lee threw 4 in the win against Bowie.
Again, it speaks to the special level of guys that we have in this league, man. He's a good quarterback. He's one of the best in this league. He was named preseason, to the preseason team as quarterback, which speaks volumes because we got a lot of good quarterbacks in this league, and for people to kind of recognize him as being one of the best is something that, is well deserved. So, we got to make sure we come in with our A game on Saturday. because we're gonna be facing one of the best quarterbacks we played all season.
And he's got some size too. He's about 6'3",
Oh,
he's
yeah.
at 6'4", something like that.
Yeah, you look at the highlights and you look at the film and everything like that. You see a big guy standing back there. You know what? He's hard to miss. I mean, he got a rocket on his shoulder. He's slinging it around and he's making some things happen.
You touched on the defense for Winston and setting them up in that game against Bowie, and they got two really good linebackers in Jamison Alston, third in the CIAA in sacks, and then Evan Powell, who leads the team in pass breakups this year.
Yeah, they're special on the back end. They do a lot of good things on the front end. I think they're deep, and I think when you kind of measure a team and see how good they're playing, you see how many good guys they have, and they have a lot of good guys, a lot of guys that they shuffle in to kind of get it done. They're forcing a bunch of turnovers. They're making plays on that side of the ball. Like I said on Saturday, a bunch of big turnovers that they got in that game that help their offense and help their team win. So we got to make sure that all of those guys, we account for them, that we have a plan for them, that we go in there with a solid game plan that we can execute, so we can come back to Richmond with a victory.
And I guess the biggest defense to kind of neutralize what they do offensively is what we talked about in our last segment, is the ground attack.
Absolutely. Again, when you get to this portion of the season, right here in the kind of the heart of things, you want to make sure that you're kind of, focusing on what you can do good. And I think, with being able to have a variety of things that you can do good makes you just that more dangerous. And that's offensively, defensively, and special teams. We have a lot of guys capable of making plays. So it's our job as coaches to make sure we can keep guys in position to make plays. So at this portion of the season, that's what's going to kind of carry you through.
Well, don't forget, Bowie State, that was last week. Winston-Salem State and Virginia Union. That's going to kick off at Bowman Gray Stadium at 1 o'clock. You can catch that on the CIAA network if you can't make the trip down to Winston-Salem. And next week at this very same time, we're going to recap that matchup against WSSU and preview the last of the 3-game road trip, as Coach Parker and the team will head to Roebuck Stadium next Saturday to play Elizabeth City State. Coach, always thanks for the time. Good luck to you on Saturday. We'll talk about it next week on the show.
Let's go. Play
All
411.
right. Play 411. That will do it for this edition of the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. Again, thanks to the running backs for joining us in the Players Lounge. They'll be in action on Saturday. Thanks to Coach Parker. Good luck to Coach and the staff as they get ready against Winston-Salem. And thank you for joining us. I'm Sean Robertson, and join us again next week as we do it all over again on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.